Hey guys, this is Lawtech Pro here. As you may know, Apple recently launched 4 new products at its special event. So today we're going to be taking a look at those products. I found that very entertaining. Now let's take a look at the Apple Watch Series 4's design. The new Apple Watch is thinner than before and the digital crown has a red ring around it. And it has a larger display, 35% larger for the 38mm watch and 32% larger for the 42mm watch. They also showed a bunch of new watch faces such as these, and a new digital crown with haptic feedback, and ECG at the back, and it has a ceramic back as well. Now let's take a look at the new features. It has a 64-bit dual-core Apple design chip that is 2 times faster, and it has a new accelerometer and gyroscope which detect if you've fallen over, tripped or slipped, and it automatically calls the emergency services if you don't move after 1 minute. And it also has an electrocardiogram, which you should hold your finger on the crown, and there are 2 electrodes on the crown and on the back, on the crown over here and on the back of the watch. So this is way more accurate than the optical heart rate sensor. It also tells you if you have atrial fibrillation, which is a very serious disease. It has a new design, larger display, new user interface, a digital crown with haptics, 2 times faster. It has a louder speaker, fall detection, electrical heart rate sensor, ECG app, cellular, GPS and altimeter, swim-proof, Bluetooth 5.0, and of course, the new optical heart rate sensor. So with all these features, you may be asking, how's the battery life like? Apple claims the same battery life of 18 hours and a GPS-only battery life of 6 hours. Pricing and models. The aluminum GPS versions are $399 including the Nike Plus, and the GPS in cellular is $499 for the aluminum version and $699 for the stainless steel version and $799 with the Milanese loop. What about the availability? You can pre-order it on September 14th and it's available on September 21st. Now let's take a look at the iPhone X and iPhone XS Max. They are IP68 water resistance, which means they can stay underwater for 2 meters for 30 seconds. They're also wine, beer and tea resistant. Apple should not promote drinking, but it has the same Super Retina OLED display with 60% greater dynamic range and supports HDR movies. The iPhone X also now has Dolby Vision with HDR10, and Apple also introduced a new phone called the XS Max, which is basically a bigger version of the XS. It has a 6.5-inch screen with the same size as the iPhone 8 Plus. It has a 6.5-inch Super Retina OLED display with 458 ppi. Max has better landscape capabilities, which allows you to do much more, such as an iMovie and gaming. It has the same 458 ppi OLED display on both with 1:1 contrast ratio. It has 120 Hz touch sensing, 3D touch, tap to wake and a true tone display. It has wider stereo sound than before, and the Face ID is the same as last year's iPhone X, except now it has faster algorithms and faster secure enclave. It's the most secure facial authentication ever in a smartphone, and the new A12 Bionic chip. It's the first 7nm chip, and it's the smartest and most powerful chip ever in a smartphone. It has an 8-core neural engine, 4-core GPU, 6-core CPU. It has 2 performance cores, and it's up to 15% faster and 40% lower power, and 4 efficiency cores up to 50% lower power. And for the first time, there's a 512GB version of these iPhones. It has a 12-megapixel wide-angle camera, an RGB, IR and dot projector on the front of the phone, has an image signal processor and smart HDR, which basically takes a lot of photos with zero shutter lag, highlight detail, shadow detail by combining all these photos together. And these are examples of the portrait mode on the iPhone XS and XS Max. They talk a lot about skin tones and the hair of the horse, I don't know why. And the most important thing about the camera is the bokeh mode. For the first time in an iPhone, you can adjust the aperture. You can adjust the blur effect even after you take the photo for the first time. It's a new era of photography. It has a 2 times faster sensor, and for the first time on an iPhone, it records stereo sound. The battery life. For the iPhone XS, it's 30 minutes more than iPhone X, and for the iPhone XS Max, it's an hour and a half more than iPhone X. It has gigabit class LTE, and for the first time in an iPhone, it finally has dual SIM. But don't get too excited though. It has dual SIM, dual standby, with an eSIM. That means one is an eSIM and one is a nano SIM, and it's offered on Vodafone, Airtel, Jio, etc. So these iPhones have 12 megapixel dual rear camera with dual optical image stabilization, all new sensor, portrait mode with depth control, advanced bokeh, true depth camera on the front, new gold finish, surgical grade stainless steel, IP68 water resistance, and most durable glass ever, and gigabit class LTE and widest stereo sound. It's available in gold, space gray, and silver colors, and 64, 256, and 512 GB. You get earpods, an iPhone, lightning to USB cable, and a 5-watt USB power adapter in the box. It's $999 for the 64 GB version, and $1149 for the 256, and $1349 for the 512. For the Max, you get 64, 256, and 512. 64 is $1099, 256 $1249, 512 $1449. You can pre-order it on September 14th, and it's available in stores by September 21st in these countries, in September 28th in these countries. And the other iPhone that Apple introduced was the iPhone XR. This is basically a low-cost version of the iPhone XS, but it has the most advanced LCD ever in a smartphone, which is called Liquid Retina. It has very slim bezels, which makes it look exactly like the iPhone X, but in a much cheaper form. So it's a 6.1-inch Liquid Retina display with 326 ppi. It has a bigger display, but in a much compact form. It has tap to wake, just like the iPhone XS, and it has a 6.1-inch Liquid Retina display and 120Hz touch sensing. It has haptic touch. It has the same Face ID sensor as the XS and the same 12 megapixel wide-angle camera as the XS with True Tone flash and flicker detect system. And for the first time on an iPhone, it has portrait mode with a single lens with a very advanced bokeh depth control. It has a true depth camera on the front, and the battery life is an hour and a half more than iPhone 8 Plus. It has a 12 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization, 6.1-inch Liquid Retina display, and an A12 Bionic chip, which is the same as XS and XS Max. So this is just a budget version of those phones. It comes with earbuds, an iPhone, lightning to USB cable, and only a 5-watt USB power adapter. The XR will be available in 64, 128, and 256 GB variants. It's going to start from $749. It's going to be available for pre-order on October 19th. Apple also reduced the prices of iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 to $449 and $599. If you found this video to be helpful, please subscribe to Law Tech Pro. Thanks for watching.